Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this first part of this tutorial we're going to be looking at setting up a Gmail account and connecting that to a Google Plus account. The second part of this tutorial will be around hosting a Google Hangout Live, or a Google Hangouts on Air I think as they're called. And the third part will be basically a tutorial of how to participate within a Google Hangout that someone else is hosting. So hopefully this will have all the useful information that you need, and we're going to split this up to be nice and easy. So first thing, setting up a Gmail account. So if you don't have one already, if you don't have a Gmail account already, then let's go to gmail.com. Click, here we go. So this is already a test account that I've created, but what if we need a new account? So we can sign in with add an account, create an account. So here we go. This is a whole form that you can fill in to create your account. So obviously name, whatever your email you want here, and password. Make sure to remember that email and password. We're going to use it a couple times throughout this tutorial. Another useful thing is to set up a phone number, and what Google will do, they'll do this a couple times throughout this process, is ask you to give them a phone number and they'll text you a 6-digit code which you then need to input into you then need to input that into a form. So we can do that, we can go through, so basically fill all this in, go through this and hit next step. So I'm going to do that now and I'll see you just after this next step. Okay, so this is essentially the next step once you've set up that Google account. What you need to do here is to basically put in your phone number, and the best thing that I found is text message. You'll press continue and essentially Google will text you, texting me, a verification code, which you can probably hear coming in. So you get that and there you go. You just enter that, continue. Alright, so you now actually have a Google account, and what this is helping you do next is to create a Google Plus profile which you can link to your Google accounts. So if you want, you can add a photo there. So that's just kind of set up and whatever. So now basically you now have a Gmail account, and you can see up here that I am signed in using that Gmail account that I've just created. Brilliant. If you set up your photo there, or you can set up your account there. Don't worry about that for now. What we're going to do is to continue to Gmail. That's great, so you're in. This is now your Gmail account. You can use this for emails, whatever you like to do with this. We're not actually going to keep on going on with this right now, but this is just a Gmail account, so it's just a standard email. You can use it if you so wish, or you could not. The next thing we want to do is to go to plus.google.com. So now what we're going to do is we're going to link our Google Plus account with my Google Gmail account, and you can see I'm already signed in up here. So what it's just taken me through now is a few setup steps, and you can go through and look at this if you're interested. I'm not particularly right now, so that's fine. You can also add people, all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about that for now. Again, you kind of got a more detailed profile here that you can set up if you so wish. Alright, and we are in, so you now have a Google Plus account. So this is just loading, and there's a little tutorial that pops up here. So you can learn more and go through this tutorial if you so wish. And essentially, yes, this is the most important part of the page right here. So just to explain what Google Plus is, it's very similar to Facebook or Twitter, anything like that, where people can share stuff, you can add friends, all that kind of stuff. So what do you need to know? Well, the first thing is over here, you have this navigation to get around. You can go around your profile, people, which is where you can add people and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go into people for now quickly, just to give you an idea of what we can be doing. Let's see. We don't want that for now, go away. So you're kind of on this page where you can find people, you can try and connect to maybe some other things, or you can just search for people. I'm going to actually add my real Facebook account, my real Google Mail, Google Circles account. And so the way to add someone is to go add to circles. And what you can actually do is basically split up your fan base into circles, or your friends or whoever you connect with into circles. You can even add people to multiple circles. Well, here we go. This kind of explains it, but that's fine. We'll go over that. You can add people to multiple circles, and you can even create a new circle. And so I'm in there as well. Okay, so let's go back to my home page. And actually, let's go back to people. So the next interesting thing to do is to explain about circles. So circles are just ways that you can, again, organize your friends into different groups. This is very useful if you're doing things later on, like creating Hangouts with, say, 10 people at the same time. What you can do is you can invite the circle rather than just inviting every single person individually. So it's a great thing to use, and you can even do stuff like delete a circle, move people out of circles. How do you do that? You can move people over into different circles. Anyway, that kind of thing. Once you get a few more friends, you can start playing around with this. It's very useful, and that's great. The other useful thing here, I think, is this Hangouts button over here on the right. This is very basically, where's it gone? Come on, open up. Here we go. So this is essentially just a chat box, very similar to Facebook Message or Skype. You can add people in here, including circles, and you can start Hangouts with various people just to chat, so you can go hi, or you can even do voice calls, anything like that. It's all very interesting, it's all very useful. Basically, this is just a simple voice call. And this is actually the first kind of introduction that we've seen to Google Hangouts. For now, what we're going to do is close this down, because we'll come back to that a little bit later. So this is your kind of basic Hangouts, where if you want to text people or do simple calls, that's great, you can do that there. So this has been an introduction to setting up a Gmail account and setting up a Google Plus account. So I'm going to leave this section here, and in the next section we're going to be focusing on hosting a Google Hangout Live. Okay, hello and welcome back. So in this section of the tutorial we're going to be looking at how to host a Google Hangout on air. So the first thing that we've done in the previous tutorial is to set up a Gmail account and to set up a Google Plus account. So what you want to do first is to sign into your Google Plus account. See, I've signed in, and I'm at plus.google. So you go over to here, this right navigation control, and you go down to Hangouts here. There's a different Hangout section to this Hangout section over here. Slightly confusing, but fairly simple to get hold of once that's been pointed out. So you click that Hangout section, and we are now in the Hangouts on Air section. So what is a Hangout on Air? A Hangout on Air is when you can basically have a Google Hangout, which is a video conversation with multiple people, or you can do it on your own. And when it's on air, it means you're live streaming it to YouTube at the time, which can be interesting. You can use it as a live seminar type tool, or you can also use it as a recording tool. Because when you do a seminar, a Google Hangouts on air, it will record the entire session, post it to YouTube in your private channel, and allow you to download it later on. So this is where I found it particularly useful. But again, you can basically do what you wish with it. But what we're going to be looking at here is how to record and post it up to YouTube. So the first things to do is to see this button here. It says Start Hangouts on Air. And if you want to learn anything more about what I've just said, under that Learn More button, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So it starts a Hangouts on Air. So let me just pull this over into the right window. And here we go. So the first thing you're going to see is this: Welcome to Hangouts on Air. Before you can broadcast, as in before it can get streamed to YouTube, you need to connect your own Google YouTube account to your Google Plus profile. Now don't worry if you don't have a YouTube account yet. Your same Google email address will work for YouTube. There's just a few little things that we need to do first. So you press that little Connect Account button, and it'll basically take you to here, and it'll ask you to sign in. So because I haven't accessed a phone number or a secondary email account to this account yet, they're just kind of saying we don't want you to get locked out of your email address. So this is something I greatly recommend you do. I'm going to not actually do it now because this is a test account and isn't relevant. So continue on. So here we go. It says you're now registered as a YouTube channel, and so use YouTube as Aiden Fry, which is your Google Plus profile, and it will create a new YouTube channel for you for your public videos. Okay, that's great. So I'll press OK. So that's cool. We're here. I'm signed in under the same Gmail account, and there's a whole bunch of stuff here to look through. For now, we're going to leave this and come back to this Hangouts page. Okay, so again, it's going to say, are your accounts connected? So you just check accounts because we've just connected. But in fact, there is another step that we need to do. So press this Connect Account button. And it's quite annoying that they don't do this all in one go, but hey. So what you now do is you load up back into YouTube, and what they need to do is verify your account by you basically giving them a phone number that they can either send a call with an automated message or text, essentially again with a 6-digit number which you have to put in. So you can text that, enter in your phone number, and just go. I'm not going to actually do this right now because you can only connect so many accounts with so many phone numbers, and in testing for this tutorial I have gone over that limit. So what I'm going to do now is to switch out into a different account that already has this verification. But what you're going to see is once you've entered your phone number there, you'll submit, it'll take you to a new page that says can you please enter those 6-digit numbers. You enter in those numbers and you go OK. It'll go through and it'll go thank you, yes, you're now verified with your YouTube account. And then what you want to do is go back to your Google Hangouts and press this Check Accounts button again. That will actually take you into the Google Hangouts and start. And here we go. So this is basically where you'll get to once you've entered your phone number and linked your YouTube account. It will say set up your Hangouts on Air. So you can set the name of this, so hello world. So that is the name of the YouTube video which will be published, or whatever you want to call this. And then again, you can invite people using your circles, or you could just add people's names individually, or anything like that which is interesting to you. You can add people in very easily. Circles is a great way. So again, if there's 20 people that you want to invite, organize them into a circle and just invite that circle. It's very useful. Okay. So when I pressed to start Hangout on air, and there we go, it is actually, we are actually into the Hangout on air. So let's see. So okay, yes, there is that. There is also a way to invite people by, here you go, copying that URL and pasting that to someone within a message. If they clicked on that URL, they will come into this Hangout and they will join you. Where's my mouse gone? There we go. So I've got to that by right-clicking on this top bar, or alternatively it might just be in this top bar, depends on your browser. But you can find that URL and pass that to people as a way of other people joining you within a Hangout. So what are the limitations of a Google Hangout? Well, there can only be 10 people within one Hangout at a time. This is something you need to be aware of. If you're trying to organize something with more than 10 people, then a different format will be more useful for you, probably TeamSpeak. But I think for video chats up to 10 people, once you get over that, it kind of can get a bit out of control. So I think it's a fairly good limit. So what's happening right now? We are currently off the air. What I have to do is start broadcasting by pressing this button here, and then this feed will get sent straight to YouTube and will actually be accessible live. So let's do that. Start broadcast, you just have to accept, and that's fine. So we are now starting the broadcast and we're recording, and we're actually going on YouTube right now. So what I'm going to do is minimize this and to load that YouTube channel. So I do that by going to YouTube. That is the right account that I'm using right now. What is this? Go away. I don't want this. I don't want this. Go away. Thank you. So what you do to find this thing would be to come up here, press that little down arrow, go My Channel. And there you can see that this is actually being streamed live. And if you wanted to click on it, you could see a slightly delayed video of what I'm saying right now. But I'm going to leave that for now. But that is essentially how a Google Live Hangout works with regards to the live recording. So what also happens? So you can only have one recording per Hangout. If you stop this recording by pressing Stop Broadcast, it would then require you to create a new Hangout to start recording again. So that's something to bear in mind. But for now, what we're going to do is stop broadcasting. Okay, so we've successfully terminated that. Which means that if you now come onto YouTube and go into your video manager, this is actually one that I did earlier, but interestingly, you can still see the options that you have. So with regards to the video that I've just recorded and stopped broadcasting, right now it is processing. If I came back to this video in about 5 minutes, you'll see it appear here, and you'll have these exact same options that you'll have here. So a really interesting thing that I've found is you can do info and settings, so you can change the privacy so that no one can see it, and you can do all that kind of stuff. And you can also download as an MP4, so you can do a whole recording, download it, and do your editing on your local device if you have any sort of video editing software. Or you could just leave it there public, and you can pass people around a link to get information out there if someone has missed a meeting. And that is the important stuff with regards to hosting a Google Hangouts. What we're going to do next is just to do a little introduction into how to participate within a Google Hangout, and basically to explain this screen here. Right, hello and welcome to the third part of this tutorial. What we're going to be focusing on here is participating within a Google Hangout, and basically what you can do when you're within here. So let's simply go around the screen and explain what's happening. This button here is how you can add people to a Google Hangout. This is another way of adding people. So once this loads, there you go, you can add people's names or email addresses into there and invite people to the Hangout. You can also mute your own microphone by pressing that. And you see down here, that shows that I'm muted. There's a few little hints that you can do. You can also turn off your camera if you so wish. This is useful for people with maybe a pretty bad internet connection who might be dropping in and out or hard to hear what they're saying. It's more important that we hear what you say than we see you. So if you kind of have a poor internet connection, you can turn off your camera and that should help you. Again, here there's some kind of bandwidth limitations, which you don't really need to worry about, it's fine. And some other simple settings such as how to kind of which microphone to use, which speakers to use. Again, don't worry about that if it doesn't interest you, it's likely already set up exactly how you need. And of course there's this button here, which is a Hangout button, which is how I would leave a Hangout if there was multiple people in the Hangout. So that's good. That's basically the very simple controls that you have with a Google Hangout. And what the Google has done is basically they have a few added features called applications within the Google Hangout. And this is this bar on the right here, on the left here. Now there's a whole bunch of these that you can go and explore and have fun with, things such as screen share, or you know, a whole bunch of things. There's apps coming out all the time. It's worth investigating and just having a look around. Google Effects, you can put a silly mustache on you or stuff like that. It's interesting. So there's just two ones that I want to point out. One is chat. Chat is probably the most useful one of these apps, simply because you can have a text chat box alongside the right of your Hangouts. This doesn't actually get recorded and is not shown on the YouTube channel. However, it's a good way to communicate with other people. Say, you know, it's just useful. People tend to use it. So that is how you get the chat box. So you see there, you click it, it shows, you click it, it hides. Great. So another thing is, I'm sure some of you have seen on the various seminars that along the bottom here, there tends to be people tend to have their names and their countries. This is particularly useful within groups where you might not know everyone, or you know, it's just a good way to get to know each other and be informative. So how do you do that? What you do is you come down here to these three dots and you go Add Applications. This will load up a whole bunch of things, and again, If you want to go through, you can go and have a look at all these different applications and see which ones you think might be useful, might be good for you. The one we're going to look at today is Google the Hangouts toolbox. So how do you do that? You go install extension. So this just connects and downloads very simply. So now we have it set up. And you see this new box here? There we go. That's the Hangout toolbox. So if you click that, this will come up on the right. So this whole thing is Google Hangout toolbox. What you can do is a whole bunch of separate things in here. But the most interesting thing that we want to look at right now is by clicking that little arrow here and having a look over at this section. So what we want to do is to create this basically a name tag on my own video feed. So the first thing to do is turn the lower third on. Aha, and there you have it. So this is in reverse because it's my own camera. However, to anyone else within the Hangout, this would be the correct way around. So you can put in your name there, and you can put in your location. It's just very useful, as I say again, especially with people who you might not know. Good to just have a name and location. Again, you can set the color of this bar to whatever you like. You can even choose a specific logo, but I wouldn't worry about that. Again, you can have a custom overlay. Don't worry about that. All you want is your name, your region, the color that you like, and to turn this on. Once you're done with that, save your presets and turn it on. And there you go. It has been updated. And this image here, this blank image here, will be the image that is used within your Google Plus account. So if you set that up, you can have your face there if you so wish. So that's how to use the Hangout toolbox and how to get your name on it, and basically how to simply use all these things. So I think that's a good place to end this tutorial. Thanks all for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.